Swarm is Riot's latest game mode release, and possibly the best game mode that Riot has released to date.
This is League of Legends. This is League of Legends, guys.
It is so undeniably fun and such a breath of fresh air when it comes to game modes. Not only is it the first PvE game mode in literal years, not only is it not just Summoner's Rift but with a small twist, but it's just so incredibly fun!
I think there's too much on the screen. I can't entirely make out what's happening.
This vampire survivor-based bullet hell and roguelike is quite possibly the best game mode that Riot has ever released due to how it has taken lessons from other game modes and, like Arena, brings something we've never seen before to the game. The way the game mode weaves this meaningful gameplay that's a culmination of many different things Riot has done over the years with the chaotic, random, and hilarious moments is something that's just beautiful.
Okay, wait, come here, bosses. Oh my god!
But before I start explaining why it's so great, I think it's a good idea to explain what Swarm is for all the people watching this video who are so addicted to solo queue that they refuse to play anything else because it doesn't give them virtual points that mean nothing in the real world. Swarm is a roguelike where you pick a champion and start with a single way to attack endlessly spawning enemies while trying not to die, and through the XP that they drop, you get new ways to attack enemies through weapons, get useful stat increases, and unlock more abilities for your chosen character. Each character starts with a passive and a weapon, and at level 3 unlocks a single ability, and at level 6 unlocks their ultimate ability. These abilities are usually ripped directly from the champion's actual kit, but with a little bit extra oomph to make them work in the game mode. In addition, every time that you level up or defeat one of the mini bosses, you'll be presented with an upgrade choice where you can either choose to get a new weapon or to upgrade one of the many stats in the game. Weapons can range from simple things like the Uwu blaster, which constantly fires projectiles at the closest enemy to you, to crazier things like the Annihilator, which kills everything in a radius around you but has a super long cooldown. Each weapon, and that includes your champion's specific one, can be upgraded to level 6, with the 6th and final level being an upgrade to how the weapon functions. This again can be as simple as the Uwu blaster firing twice as fast and as crazy as "Rah, Timber's mad," which I still don't know what that does. Stats, on the other hand, are very straightforward, where you get to choose up to 6 stats such as extra damage and upgrade it 5 times. In addition, you have Yuumi Quests and Bel'Veth trials where you either need to do a specific task like roll a ball of yarn or deal with an increase in difficulty such as being constrained to a specific area while being swarmed by additional enemies in order to get augments that can give you powerful effects or a shitload of XP. Survive the endless waves of enemies that try to swarm you for 15 minutes and you're met with the boss fight that gives you rewards to be able to get permanent upgrades before starting your next run. Now that's Swarm at a very basic level, but why is it so fun then? Well,
Please! Aurora, just do damage! For once in your life, Aurora, do damage! Stay put! Stay put while there's bombs! Waves! Waves! The waves are crashing! It's not a good one. It's not a good crashing of waves. Get away from me! Get away from me! I just destroyed that thing in like less than a second. I want a goon to the Battle Bunny Misfortune skin, guys! Come on, Riot! Why would you not allow me to goon to her?
the big reasons this game is so fun has to come down to the items and the augments, like being able to have the gameplay itself, because there's so many projectiles that enemies can't even come close to touching me, just feels so satisfying, especially given how many rounds you can have where you have to clench your butt cheeks tight enough that the poop has no other option than coming out the other end. Not to mention things like the Battle Bunny boon, which can end up with you driving a car over enemies like you're booze cruising through a school zone, just letting you absolutely tear through the enemies that were tearing through you not that long ago. The boss fights themselves also make the game feel that much better because they're honestly so well designed, have a clear learning curve, and each of them feels unique from each other, or builds off of mechanics in previous boss fights. And I have to give compliments to the chaotic nature of the game mode, because even though you do end up in those situations where you're on a sliver of health, the feeling of getting out of those situations is honestly better than sex. Which I have had. I swear I have! Please believe!
Heal me! Tentacles heal me! Yes, he's dead! I fucking off-screened him!
And this game mode straight up feels like it needs an epilepsy warning sometimes. With the amount of things happening on my screen, it's sometimes hard to tell what's even happening when you're full build. And sure, this is great and all, but the question we came to answer is, why is this game mode so great? Why is it possibly the best game mode Riot has ever put out? Why am I addicted to Briar's Feet? These are all very reasonable questions. I think the answer really comes down to how this game mode has been shaped by game modes before it and the biggest influence on the game. Previous PvE game modes like Star Guardian's Invasion or Odyssey's Extraction laid the groundwork for this chaotic nature that we're seeing in Swarm, especially with Extraction having the roguelike element of being able to upgrade your character before each run. And both of those game modes are remembered so fondly that Swarm is almost a natural progression of the two of them. In addition, basing the entire game off of one of the most popular roguelikes is an amazing idea because as bad as Vampire Survivor looks, it's an incredibly fun game. So you take some people who have done well with PvE game modes in the past, mix in gameplay from a game that is critically acclaimed, and you have a recipe for success. I also think that Riot has gotten a lot of wonderful feedback and knowledge in what players want due to Arena, and that really shines through the augments that you're able to get throughout the game that award unique ways of playing or cause you to pick up stats you normally might not, like Cross Country, which gives you stacking damage, health, and area size after traveling a massive distance, so you might actually consider picking up more movement speed. And I think the chaotic and fun nature of Arena has prepared them for the chaotic and fun nature of Swarm. And the way that each champion feels so unique is amazing too. Like Yasuo and Riven, who have to move a certain amount in order to get their base weapon off instead of it just coming out normally, or Alawi, who spawns tentacles to fight for her rather than getting an attack of her own, or Aurora, who fucking sucks. Honestly, she's just terrible. Listen, the one real gripe I have with Swarm does come down to character balance, because some champions like Jinx, Riven, and Xayah can just dominate the game mode without really needing an amazing setup in terms of stats, but Aurora is just so bad. In my game developer experience, when you're making a roster of characters for a PvE game mode, you generally want to make sure that any character the player chooses is able to get through the content on their own merit. Sure, some characters might be harder than others, but the learning curve is part of the fun. However, the problem that Aurora has is that she just sucks. She doesn't do damage as quickly or consistently as the other characters, she's buggy as shit and can get hit with damage while you're supposed to be immune, and one of her immunities you can cancel for some reason.
No! I hit E twice!
And not only all of that, but she's so dependent on the stats and items you get to the point where I'd argue if you don't get XP or ability haste in the first couple of levels, you might as well just reset the run at that point. I could make an entire video about how bad Aurora is compared to the other characters in Swarm, considering it took me almost 2 hours to beat Aatrox on the highest difficulty with her, and she was the last character I played with, so I was very familiar with the fight, and I one-shot Aatrox as Riven. All of this is to say that the balancing isn't great, but what can you really expect from a game mode that was made for a summer event, was initially made by one dude as a side project, and probably won't come back after it's gone until another similar event in size to this one is up. You can also play the game with friends, which would probably be a really good time, but unfortunately none of my friends play League of Legends with any sort of regularity, so I'm left wondering why I still play this game after so many years when the whole reason I started in the first place was due to having friends that played the game.
Cool, and, you know,
Hey.
hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey, who wants to play League of Legends? Oh man.
I prefer Smite.
And you know what? Fuck you.
Oh man. So yeah, Swarm kind of fills that giant hole in my heart for having fun with this game, and that's why it's so successful for both myself and others. If you enjoyed this type of content, then go check out the other videos on my channel, like this one explaining why League of Legends content has felt so stale recently.